Hey everybody, this is Terry from Nope, Crimes, Lies, and Alibis. How do you like it? Danny's not with me right now because I'm doing this one on myself, and she may do something else by herself, and we'll certainly be doing a lot together. Anyway, tonight, what I came across was something I've never seen before, and I'm sure it's highly controversial. And I'm kind of wondering where you guys stand on it. It seems like a woman in Florida, in Polk County, Sheriff Grady Judd. Gotta love the guy. She was arrested along with her friend for giving her friend car keys, knowing that she was drunk. And they are both being charged with second-degree manslaughter. So let's play it and I'll stop and start. I just want to mention the whole fair use thing, and I'll even show my little fair use warning. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions or copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. Okay, so let's put this on and take it away, Sheriff Grady Judd.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with me today for this release of information like you've never seen released here at the Sheriff's Office before. We've checked back into our history and we can't find where this type of charge on this type of incident has ever been made. But before we talk about the charge, let me go back in time and tell you about Mrs. Bruno here. She's 47 years of age. In December, she had a crash on Interstate 4 where she ran off of the road and she sideswiped the victim's truck. The victim and another vehicle had been involved in a minor crash and was off on the side of the road. The victim was standing beside the door when Mrs. Bruno, because she was so drunk, could not keep her car on the road. She sideswiped the truck, hitting our victim and killing him. She was arrested. She was charged, among other things, with DUI manslaughter, which is a felony of the second degree. She had a breathalyzer of .20. Our traffic homicide team, which is simply the best, the very best, began their background investigation. And the goal is to go back and say, what was Mrs. Bruno doing from the second of the crash back? And here's what our traffic detectives, determined. She, by the way, worked at a school as administrative support. I believe she was a secretary. Had arrived at Brulin's bar about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on this particular day, and she had began to drink. And she met a friend there, and the friend had also drank there as well. And then from there, we determined she and her friend went over to Lucky's, where she continued to drink. So she
With the fair use thing, I got to stop and start anyway. And he hasn't really said a whole lot except that she had been drinking and got pretty much got behind the wheel. And this happens so often, whether we've done it or seen it happen. But what I'm talking mostly about tonight is seeing it. What's your responsibility? I'm taking it a little bit further than what they're talking about, but that's kind of where I want to be thinking. What's your responsibility? What's my responsibility if I know someone is drunk and they're going to drive, what's your responsibility? What's your responsibility if they're family? What's your responsibility if they're a friend or a neighbor or an absolute complete stranger? What is our responsibility as individuals who are seeing this about to happen? Anyway, I'm going to let him go on now.
Started drinking that we know of at about 4 p.m. and she left Lucky's bar at about 7:40 p.m. So you can see for an extended period of time, 3.5 hours, she was partaking of alcoholic beverages. We have some video clips for you to see of her in those two establishments. She was blasted when she left Lucky's bar. She was drunk, drunk, capital drunk. She was
Capital
smashed.
drunk.
So she went over to the Wawa gas station and she went inside to order a sandwich. Well, the people at Wawa were so concerned when she set her keys down, they tried to grab them from her, but she was able to get them first.
That I think takes a lot of guts and a lot of class. Um, that to me is taking responsibility. They know that she wasn't, when you're out there, if you know you're going to be out drinking, my feeling is, if you know you're going to go out and have more than one or two for dinner or whatever, take an Uber and have a designated driver. There's so many options. The getting behind the wheel is just not one of them. You know, there are really good people, and by good I mean like the kind of people who um, you know, don't do things wrong, don't break the law, and normally um, have never been arrested, have never seen the inside of a jail. You're in prison for a very long time because they killed somebody. That's murder. You take the life of somebody.
They delayed building her sandwich and they called the Lakeland Police Department. In the meantime, she went to the bathroom and apparently threw up all over herself and dropped her keys and she came back out. The Lakeland police arrived and determined exactly what I've said to you. She was ripped. So they said, well, can I call a friend? We got to get you home? The Lakeland police didn't see her in actual physical control. The keys were on the bathroom floor. They had later been picked up, by the way, of another customer and taken back to the Wawa clerk. So congratulations to the Wawa clerk for notifying the Lakeland Police Department. The police department said, hey, you cannot drive. And she said, well, let me call a friend. She called Michelle English, who's 45. Michelle English was the person that was at the bars with her earlier today. When Michelle arrived, from every indication, she was not intoxicated. So she was sober. The police officers who were there said, look, we'll let you take Miss Bruno home, but you've got to take her directly home and make sure she does not operate a motor vehicle. She is in no condition to drive. Michelle English said, okay, no problem. They left Bruno's car at the Wawa. They said, yeah, you can leave your car here. And the Wawa people actually kept the keys so that Mrs. Bruno wouldn't have them and they wouldn't be in possession of Michelle English. The police left after they saw Michelle leave the premises with Lucretia Bruno. As soon as the police left, Michelle came back. She came back, went into the Wawa station, got the keys from the clerk, came outside, gave the keys to Mrs. Bruno, and watched Mrs. Bruno drive off. 7 miles and 9.
Why? Just why? Is it that big of a deal? I mean, if the police already got involved and they're at this Wawa and well, can I call my friend? And your friend comes, she doesn't appear to be intoxicated. So they say, okay, take her home. Why at that point? Why give her the keys so that she could drive home? And why, even in a drunken state, sorry, at this point, what are you just thinking you're going to get over on the cop? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It seems like once the cops get involved like that, you might be more like, yeah, take me home and maybe I'll get a ride and come pick up my car tomorrow. I mean, makes sense to me. I just don't get it. I mean, if you think any differently, I'd love to hear comments down below. But we'll go on.
9 minutes later, Mrs. Bruno ran over and killed our victim on Interstate 4. Our detectives obtained an arrest warrant for culpable negligence manslaughter, and yesterday we arrested Michelle English. She lives in Hillsborough County, and we booked her into the Hillsborough County Jail. She directly contributed to the death of our victim by allowing Mrs. Bruno to have those keys and to drive away from the Wawa station, despite the fact she was intoxicated, she was smashed, she was ripped, she was drunk, she was everything you could think of. So now she's facing a second degree murder charge,
Yeah,
just like Lucretia is facing a second degree murder charge.
yeah.
Heck, who knows? Maybe they can both plead guilty and go to the same prison and have some conversations like, that was really stupid of me to give you those keys. Well, you knew I was drunk. You should have never done it. Maybe they can go to state prison together. But our goal is to see that Michelle English goes to state prison. Our goal is to see Lucretia Bruno go to state prison. But you know what? No matter how long they go to state prison for to pay for their horrific,
This
outrageous
is it.
conduct, none of it will bring our victim back.
Right.
Our victim was just doing the right thing.
That's it.
He was involved in a minor crash. He was working with the other person who was involved in the crash. And because of Michelle English's crazy, uncontrolled decision, our victim's dead today. Are there any questions?
You know, I have a question for you guys. Would it make a difference if she gave the keys to the woman and the woman drove home and nothing happened and she got home safely and everybody got home safely? Is there a difference between that and obviously the big difference is that there's a victim. Someone ended up dead because she ran him over. But what I'm wondering is if in any other way there is a difference besides that, because you hear so often people saying, I'm fine, I can drive, I'll be okay. And you know what? Most of the time they do get home okay. and so does everybody else. But then there are the times that somebody dies. Now, because this guy was killed, this victim was killed, I mean, there's manslaughter charges, second degree, you heard him, which is just, it just shocks me that this, something like this even happens. I don't know why anything shocks me anymore. I really don't. But, but, if you know you're going to drive, maybe don't. I mean, if you know you're going to drink, don't drive. If you know you're going to drive, don't drink. If you're with somebody and, you know, and you see that they're drunk, are you really that afraid to take the keys? Are people afraid to take the keys? Are people afraid that their friend will get angry and maybe not be friends with them anymore? I've taken keys, and I didn't care if, this is just me. I figured, I might have saved their life or somebody else's life. If they don't want to be my friend anymore because of it, then so be it. That wasn't the case. In fact, I did get a thank you for doing that. But
No, we're not, uh, absent the permission of the family, and they've not given us permission because he is the victim of a criminal act and that his identity is protected by Marcy's law. If the family gives us permission, we'll be more than happy to release it. But at the end of the day, we can't ever remember when we've brought this charge for this set of circumstances. And they've reviewed this all the way back into the 50s, as I was told yesterday. So in 70 years, Michelle English gets the trophy of the criminal charge that's never been brought under this set of circumstances before. The only information she gave to us was lies. And oh, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And our detective showed her the video where she helped her drunk friend in the bars and stuff because she was so drunk she's staggering around. So she was with her and watched her get progressively drunk as the evening went on. And when she was called to pick her up, she knew how much she'd been drinking. She was with her. So there you go. We're going to have the information that we can release and give it to you in a few minutes. I don't know if we have the 911 tape. And if we're not releasing it, I think there's part of it that we can release, but Scott will have to call that. Sheriff, of course, with horrific incidents like this, what's the message to the general public when you're out enjoying yourself and you're around friends who are enjoying themselves maybe a little bit too much? What's the general message? Yes, sir. My basic message to people is that if you want to partake of alcoholic beverages, Uber's cheap, a taxi cab's free or cheap. If you can't find a ride or help anyplace else, call us before you get in your car. We'll find you a ride home. We don't want you to hurt yourself. We don't want you to hurt someone else. Now, if you get behind that,
that's really interesting. Um, I wonder if that works everywhere, but that is really interesting to me. So, yeah, I mean, if you can't get a ride anywhere else, I guess, call your local police department and tell them, you drank too much. I don't know too many people who would do that, but they get your ride home safely.
that wheel and we turn the lights on, the deal's off. But even that, going to jail is much better than being on a metal tray over here at the morgue next door. So at the end of the day, you've got to be responsible. I applaud the people at Wawa. They went above and beyond their duty and
Mhm.
responsibility to try to stop that lady from driving that motor vehicle. That's responsible community. That's responsible
Yeah,
business
it is.
community. And I commend her for that. But, oh, Michelle English here went back and got the keys. So did she say, my drunk friends in the car, I'm give her the keys? Wawa wouldn't have given them back to her. She had some cock and bull story about I got somebody to drive her car home or some kind of nonsense, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, she was just not intoxicated. She was rip roaring drunk. She was a .207 for
That's pretty
breathalyzer
high.
that night, hours later after the crash. Thank y'all very much. Have a great evening.
Wow. Wow. So just tell me what you guys think in the comments and let me know what you think in the comments. Sorry, I've had a few things blaring at me. I don't know if you heard any of them. Just about what your thoughts are, especially about the friend getting arrested for second degree murder, given the car key. Catch you in the next one.